The countdown slowly coming to an end. Where's UCLA going? Who could they play? Here are the final thoughts before the selection show.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free wherever it's your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. It's your team every day. It's the day we've all been waiting for, Selection Sunday. And no, the brackets aren't out, and no, we don't know the dance partner just yet. But let's have some final thoughts, all right? The regular season that has culminated in an up-and-down campaign where it seems like we don't really know what this UCLA team could do. They could easily lose to a mid-major in the first round, or they could get the location, the bracket, the path they need to go on a run, and all the Mick Cronin haters and doubters are going to be shut up yet again, just like they were 4 years ago. It's been a crazy couple of March Madnesses the last few years. We've seen 15 and 16 seeds win in the first round. We've seen a 15 seed go to the Elite Eight, 2 11 seeds, if you include UCLA and NC State, go to the Final Four. Anything is truly possible, right? We had an 8 seed North Carolina that close to winning a national championship if they didn't blow the national championship game lead for the biggest lead at halftime blown by a team in the national championship game. So there's lots of things that can happen in March. Once you're in the dance, it's time to square up and get to moving. What is UCLA's path right now? At the moment, this is all projection-based. I'll have my episode about what the actual path is. Right now, this is the projection-based model. I'm going Joe Lunardi. He is usually the most accurate, and that's who I trust at the moment. Joe Lunardi, with the latest update, this is the latest update I've got. The day of Selection Sunday, 8:50 a.m. Pacific. So there's still a few championship games to be decided. The Ivy, there's still, of course, the Big Ten, the SEC, and I forget there's probably one more. Right now, my final thoughts from what I've seen, UCLA, what Joe Lunardi has them, is in the West side of the United States in the first round, in Denver, playing UC San Diego in the West Regional, which would take them to San Francisco. They would be paired up against Texas Tech in a potential second-round matchup. And in my mind, that would be a mixture of emotions, right? You get the location. Mick Cronin has talked about, I just want to get to the NCAA tournament. He didn't give a rat's bleep about the freaking Big Ten tournament. And as much as embarrassing as it was, as frustrating as it was, as nearly disastrous as it was with Adai Mata rolling his ankle, UCLA got out of there as quick as possible. And if they get to be West, rest for a couple days, and only have to fly as East, quote unquote, East, for this Big Ten team as Denver, that's a dream come true. Now, if they're playing a team like UC San Diego, who is one of the sneaky mid-major schools out there, that would be a very tough first-round matchup for UCLA. Very, very tough. Not from a size standpoint, but from a scoring, a passing, and a turnover-free standpoint. We can go deeper into that if that's the case. They get Texas Tech. I think that's a 3 seed that UCLA would love to face in the second day. Of course, we can dive into that a little bit more. The big thing is, if, based on what's happened in these conference tournaments, if what really happened in last week has shifted the seeding that much, UCLA, they're going to be a 6 seed. They've most likely been a 6 seed. It's where they get to go. If it's the West and the West, then UCLA is dangerous. If the Bruins don't have to travel that far, and they get, of course, they sneak through, they battle a tough mid-major in round 1 or a tough 11 seed. You never know. Maybe it's the team that's playing into the bracket, or it's a tough mid-major like Lunardi has UC San Diego there to battle the UC systems. You get through that, you play in the West Coast. Hopefully there's more of a Bruin turnout. And then all of a sudden you get to that second weekend. You're playing even closer to home. You have an hour after all that travel, a week where UCLA has winter quarterfinals right now before they head into a spring break. If they can win now, if they survive this week from Big Ten going to Indianapolis, preparing for their finals, get to the tournament and survive the first week, UCLA is dangerous. There's a lot of things going on from an academic standpoint that Mick Cronin tries to point out. From him not caring about the Big Ten tournament, it was embarrassing to watch how they played against Wisconsin, who was really angry, played really well, and gave the Bruins a beatdown that they wanted to give to them since mid-January at Pauley Pavilion. Now, what do I feel about a potential UC San Diego matchup? I've seen UC San Diego play. I watched them on TV. It would be a tough matchup. I wouldn't like it. And that would be a Cinderella I'd want to root for. Maybe not against UCLA, of course. There's a lot of things that can change. And, of course, will the selection committee choose to honor the brand, right? Are they going to do that with the SEC at large selections, get them to 14, 15 billion teams in the tournament? Or is UCLA going to get the favor of, hey, we're UCLA. We get to play in the West. We get to play in the West Regional and play in the West Coast for 2 straight weekends. That would be a favor to UCLA. And that would be a missed opportunity this year if the Bruins are given the location and the bracket to at least get to the Elite Eight. To at least get to the Elite Eight if what they're potentially projected as. The Bruins, their Sweet 16 could potentially face Kansas, Oklahoma, St. John's, Omaha, all projections, all conjecture. Yeah. But the fact that at this late moment, they might be slated for a West Coast first couple of weekends, manageable first weekend, I would be very, very much on the hype train for UCLA. Of course, I've said before, this is a team that will break our hearts at some point, most likely if they don't hold on to a lead. Sometimes their lack of shooting is a little rough, but do they have the guard play to get deep into the NCAA tournament? They have the special 7-3 center. They've got some 3-4 players at the 3, at the 4 who can make some buckets. But this is the time where they're going to need a Dylan Andrews. They're going to need a Sky Clark. They're going to need somebody to step up and make things happen in March. I would lean Sky Clark with his shooting ability, and you'd go with Kobe Johnson with his defensive ability. But maybe there's some hero waiting to burst onto the scene in March Madness. They didn't show it during the Big Ten tournament, but they got the fight, the heart, the tenacity, and truly the lack of a game plan that showed they didn't care about the Big Ten tournament quarterfinal against Wisconsin. Like, why are you letting the best three-point shooting team, arguably in the Big Ten, one of the best teams in the country at shooting the three, take so many open three-point shots beyond the ridiculous ones they made? I don't know. I would hope UCLA will have a much better game plan whenever they play, whomever they play, wherever they play in the first couple of games in the NCAA tournament, right? It's go time. And I think Cronin wanted to get his team a wake-up call, which they did. And if Lunardi is projecting the Bruins are getting some favors from the committee staying west, I think we better start believing in their ability to go far, because they're just as likely to go far as they are to lose in the first round. That is, we got to make that clear. They can go far and they can lose in the first round. Those are equal possibilities for UCLA this year. And it'll be a missed opportunity if after all this year travel, they get exactly what they want, a winnable first matchup, a solid matchup in round 2, and not having to travel far, and neither does the fan base have to travel far. That would be a missed opportunity. Do I believe it's going to align like this, like Joe Lunardi says? Maybe go with Mike DeCourcy, whatever projectionist, maybe you're going with Jerry Paul, whatever you're going with your projection models. Will it line up as beautifully as this? I don't know if it will. But if it does, that is a best case scenario for UCLA. 6th seed in the West Regional playing in Denver. That is the best case. So if you see that, you should be very excited. We should all be very excited. You Mick Cronin and UCLA. Cronin, I'm not sure if you have a smile, but he'd be pretty happy inside. Now, if they get stuck playing some ridiculous 11 seed or they're playing some super tough 3 seed, if they get thrown to a set, well, I don't think they'll get screwed. The way they'll get screwed is they'll have to go in the East Regional and go to Providence in the first round. That would be like, dude, they really got to go across the country and go play in Providence right now, fly back, and then go back to the East Coast to Newark. That would be, that'd be rough. Because the seeding is most likely intact. It's a matter of where. And then we wait, and then we just dissect the matchups. Those are my final thoughts. Where, how, and why. We'll see what happens. Until then, I will have my post-Selection Sunday show for both the men, and I'll talk about the women. We know what the women will be. They'll be a 1 seed. They're going to host the first round. They'll play in Spokane in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. That's their path. It's a matter of who goes, who's the path, and if they're the number 1 overall seed. That is the thing for the UCLA women. All right? Are they going to get respected by the selection committee, which they've been the first couple of times in the top 16 reveal, or shall they get disrespected and be the second overall number 1 seed? Okay, will they be number 2 in the country? Those are the only things to truly look for the women. It's who are they playing and who are they potentially playing in the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, heading into a potential Final Four run this year for the UCLA women in Corey Close, who have been off for this whole week. They get it a lot better. They get a week early. They get to play at home, play on the West Coast, and they don't have to travel for a very long time. They get the better end of the shtick. UCLA on the men's side, you might have to go across the country, or you might play a little hop, skip, and a jump into Colorado and get back to San Francisco. But until then, it's Selection Sunday, one of the best days of all the year other than NCAA tournament games. When you know you're in, who are you going to play, the excitement, when, where. I love all of this. And you should too. It's time to get mad. Maybe you hate the Bruins. Maybe you hate Mick Cronin. Maybe you love them. Maybe you're going to get mad from them winning or them losing. This is the best time. So come here to Locked On UCLA. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. And we're going to get mad just with every single finish. The good mad and the bad mad. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get on the action like never before. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. 200 extra bucks to use on everything from the buzzer beaters to Cinderellas to even who's cutting down the nets. Right now, the FanDuel app, it's always been super easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly, no waiting around, and there's tournament games happening almost every day, so there's always something to bet on. Visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. It's going to do it for us here in Locked On UCLA. Look out for more content all week long. The NCAA tournament is here. We're waiting for Selection Sunday content. We're going to have reaction to the selection show. We'll talk about the men. When the women's bracket gets out, we'll talk about the women. We'll talk about the matchups leading up to the game. Whoever they play, wherever they play, we'll be with you the entire month of March and hopefully deep into early April. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA. Fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.